Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to 4K for You. It has been 2 weeks, but that's all right. We've got some great news, some exciting, reviews to talk about, some rumors to talk about. Welcome back, Valliant Renegade. How you been?
Been good. Good to be back here live at 5 on a Wednesday. Good to see everybody out there in the audience. And everybody make sure you're hitting that like button, hit the share button, especially send that out to Facebook and the Twitters. I just hit my share button, as a matter of fact, to Twitter and as a community share on my YouTube page. So hopefully that will drag in the audience as everybody do that. If you can, that'd be great. And welcome aboard.
And the fucky book, if you play that game. Or whatever it is.
The book face and the water. Yeah.
I thought it was French, like Fake book. Fake book.
Fouki.
Maybe so.
Oh, it's Facebook. I never knew that. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, of course. So share that out, link out, hit the like button, and check out these guys' channel. You can get the link in the description, and I pinned it at the top of the chat. You can click on the link there to subscribe to Valliant and Greg of FanZcene. How you doing, Greg?
Doing good. How you guys doing? Glad to be here again.
Glad to have you. And we see we got some regulars coming in already. Big Raj. Look at that. Sends it in a thumbs up. That's right. He's got the right idea. Hit that thumbs up like Big Raj. And then we got Doba Fett here who says 2 weeks. Total Recall. Yeah, we got Monkey Jeebus here. We got Duck Nation. We got Coffee Lover. Looks like we got Tu Gayen, if I'm saying that right. Or Sue Gayen. I don't know how you pronounce that exactly, but I apologize. Hitchhiker42, D-Bud Martin's here. How you doing, buddy? We also have here Dr. Dragon, or Dragon Master, sorry, not Dr. Dragon. But Dr. Dragon might show up. Sometimes does on the show. And we also have a poll in the chat. If you haven't clicked on a choice yet, go ahead and do that. And then probably about midway through the show or later on in the show anyway, we'll definitely check into that. But curious which crime action 4K announcement you're most excited for. We're about to get into some of these, so I'm not going to say them all right now because some of these are ones we haven't exactly talked about yet.
Well, we got a poll in the chat. I've already cast my vote, so we'll get there.
I can't vote.
Oh.
It won't let me because I made the poll.
Oh, well, that's...
It won't let you vote on your own poll.
This is true.
But yeah, if you haven't had a chance to yet, click that, and whichever one you're looking forward to the most. We'll see what you guys think. I'm just curious what you guys are looking forward to, because we got a lot of news in the last couple weeks. Not so much last week, but a lot in the week since, right, Greg? Greg's muted.
I
think that's a yes.
Sorry. Yes.
That's all good.
It's not too much last week, but yeah, we got a couple last week, and I guess a lot this week, you could say.
Well, one I know that Valliant was very excited about, and possibly just about everybody else here. Turns out I was right about August 23rd being the video on demand date for Top Gun Maverick. But now we have an official video release date. Isn't that right, Valliant?
We do. Yeah, I know you and I talked about this before, and just to kind of remind everybody quickly. So what happened with this, Top Gun Maverick originally was slated to get a more traditional theatrical release because of the power of Cruise when it comes to negotiating these contracts, in this case with Paramount. 120-day theatrical window. Although it's been discussed for months since the movie came out, as big a hit it was. Paramount was desperate to get this thing on Paramount Plus or at least PVOD sooner, which apparently they were able to negotiate back down to 90 days. So that means they had to write Tom Cruise a check. in addition to the big check he already got. Actually, I'm going to be doing a video on that probably here in the next day or two. Yeah, so we got PVOD. So everybody out there, premium video on demand on August 23rd, which means if
Actually,
you
I think
want,
that's the 120 days, actually, not 90.
what, May 26th until
Unless my math is off. I thought
no,
it was 100.
it's going to be
Is
day
it the
90.
90?
Yeah,
Is it? Okay.
it's 90. Yeah, because I looked at it today. Because right now it's on.
Yeah,
day
either
80.
way, that's what. Yeah.
Today is day 85. For the
Oh,
for the
okay,
movies
yeah.
released.
Because that's what I originally had heard was it was August 23rd for video on demand, and then they were saying September. I can't like the first week in September because it was going to go bam bam, but then they pushed off the video until later this year. So go ahead.
Yeah,
and finish.
well, that's probably was part of the negotiation they had because I know Tom Cruise didn't want this going for free on Paramount Plus too fast. So yeah, August 23rd on day 90, day 91 is when it'll drop for PVOD, meaning you will have to pay to either buy it digitally or to rent it digitally. It's probably going to be, $5 to rent.
Now, do we know
$20
if you're gonna be able to buy it or not? Because I know there was some movies where they've had in the recent years where they only had the rental period for a little bit. I was curious if they're gonna do like they did with Bond.
I read an article today or last night on it, and I believe it mentioned for purchase or rental, but they may have also been speculating. So we'll see.
Okay.
But you will be able to own it for sure in the preferred format, which of course on this show is physical media on November the 1st. So I pre-ordered this movie from Amazon like the weekend it came out when the pre-order link went up. So I'm good. I'll be seeing it November 1st. But if you really want to, you want to watch it before then. Now, look, I expect this movie to remain in theaters because it is still performing in the number 2, number 3 spot every day. I bet this weekend it could be number 1 at the theaters again this weekend with another 50% drop in Bullet Train. Top Gun Maverick may be the hit. If not, it's going to be number 2. Because there's really nothing else coming out to challenge it. And I know they want to get to that $700 million mark. They're less than $25 million away right now. And if they cross the $700 million mark, that means Black Panther is going down as the number 5 domestic biggest of all time, unadjusted.
Wow.
So that's only going to leave Endgame to beat it in terms of a Marvel film domestically.
Well, and the reason I bring up the rental period, and I wonder if they're not doing that, is because there's the 2 months between the video on demand release and the video release. So I'm wondering, just wondering if maybe they'll put it out for a month on rental only, like they did with Bond.
They might.
And then that's what I'm
could
thinking.
be, but this is Paramount. That was Sony. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, we have no idea. And actually, that was Universal MGM. But yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they switched.
Yeah, I know. I had to remind somebody had to remind me that this morning.
They're going to want to try to make because again, nothing is coming out Labor Day weekend. I mean, nothing major. Just
Jaws.
Re-release, yeah. No, but I'm like new release stuff, and I'm telling you, they're gonna try to make. I think Labor Day weekend is gonna be the final weekend there. I think Paramount's gonna make a big push for that. To say, hey, look, see it on the big screen one last time, kind of thing. And we're only about 3 weeks away from that, so I think that's their target for that. And of course, the theater is going to be more than happy to keep this around. So,
this will be like Spider-Man, where even though it's on video, it's still in theaters.
It's still going to rack up, probably another 20, 30 million after it drops at least. And that's all it needs at this point to punch that ticket. It's already over 700 million globally, or excuse me, internationally. And it's about 24.5 million away from it domestically.
And we have a look here now at they finally released the Steelbook art. Now, this will be available everywhere, so this isn't like a Best Buy exclusive or anything like that, but for those who might have been curious, here you go. Here's the Steelbook art. I'll look at it anyway. Nice. It's about as big as I can get it, but yeah, we got not too shabby. So yeah, looking forward to that. A lot of people are, and we got a little bit of other news associated with that. I don't know if you heard this part, Valliant.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know.
If you're about to talk about, because I had the specs for the Blu-ray and 4K, I have it.
Oh, go right ahead. I was going to say, because I don't know if this is on the Blu-ray part of it, but I know the 4K will have the IMAX version. Will it not?
Well, according to the digital bits, and it has been confirmed by them and their sources or whatever, the
I trust
4K,
Bill, yeah.
yeah, the 4K will contain the Dolby Vision HDR along with the HDR10, but the Blu-ray and 4K will have Dolby Atmos, and it looks like the variable aspect ratio will shift from 239 to 178 for the IMAX scenes.
Sweet. There you go.
Yeah, on Blu-ray and 4K, it looks like.
So both versions, there's the answer.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
for those who are curious what that is, you may remember, of course, I think the first one to do it was Dark Knight.
Yep.
But a lot of the more recent Marvel movies now on Disney, they're advertising the IMAX versions. Well, that's what they are. They instead of having them cropped off during the IMAX sequences, they actually opened up the mat. So what you'll have is during some sequences in the movie, it'll actually open up to fill up your screen a little bit from the top
that's
and
going to be
bottom.
a lot of your action sequences. You know, that's going to be that's where that was, because actually there's a good video on YouTube kind of shows this sweet camera rig set that they made to put inside the cockpits of the F-18.
I've heard some of the shots in this are amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's basically four cameras, four kind of like mini format Sony cameras that they had in there to capture, right flank, left flank. Then you had two directly in front of the pilot or in front of crews or whoever was flying it. One is a close-up shot, one is a wide shot. So, I mean, they basically, because they were renting these planes, they cost them $11,400 per hour to rent these suckers, put them in the air. So they wanted to make sure, hey, we don't have to fly this and do this shot 2 or 3 times. We're gonna rig every camera we've got into this cockpit and get it all to sync up right off the bat. And it's really cool because these new cameras they're using, these mini form factors like the Alexa Mini LF and all this kind of stuff, they can really do stuff now that they weren't able to do even 5-6 years ago.
Well, the only reason I haven't seen the film yet, to be honest with you, is it hasn't come back to my closest IMAX. That's one of the few IMAXs that hasn't moved it back in there because they only have one. Do they have 2 screens? They might have 2 IMAX screens. Either way, but it's always had to have been whatever the new big movie is of that week. Mm-hmm. They haven't been able to get out of whatever contract that is. So,
well, they haven't had any now for it's been 2 weeks, so maybe they'll.
Well, they had ET last weekend.
See,
and I think they only have one. I think they only have one IMAX screen, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, they can't show.
So they can't even put 1 or 2 showings a week in there of it?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like whatever they were contractually obligated to do, at least in my area. And since there isn't multiple ones, they can't, show one in the one and the other. Maybe they'll put it in back in this weekend here, but between E.T. and Jaws, I have to check. But that's really the only thing that stopped me from seeing it. It's like, if I'm going to go see it, I want to see it in IMAX. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait because honestly, I'll get a better experience at home.
Yeah, I understand.
Because, for those who don't know, clearly most people do, but I have like an 82-inch fucking screen.
Nice.
40, and I have, 4K, obviously, and, Dolby Atmos system and all that kind of shit. So, yeah, a lot of the theaters in my area, being a rural area, I do technically get a better experience at my home than I do going to the theater. It's kind of sad.
I feel that.
Especially considering how small some of the theaters are in some of these cineplexes and shit they have, it's like pointless. Like, it really doesn't feel like it's that much bigger than my TV. Especially when I'm sitting close up to my TV, it's like, like whatever,
I get that.
Yeah. It's like the same thing with Jaws. It's like the only reason I'm going to go see it is because I can go see it in 3D or whatever, probably, or hopefully anyway. And because I can't see it at home that way, but yeah. But Jeremiah, Hembry says, did they rewrite the She-Hulk show because of what Disney is doing in December because of the ads? Well, I'm not.
Did they rewrite it because I don't understand.
I'm not sure about the question as far as what. Oh, because they're getting ads in there. Is that what? You saying that they tamed it down a little bit? Maybe is that what you're saying, Jeremiah? This isn't necessarily the show we would get into this on, but I know Valliant and I are usually up to speed when it comes to the ad stuff. And yes, Disney is bringing back ads in December, but all their shows so far have been set up to where they could be put on network if they needed to be. And I highly doubt there was ever going to be anything that was questionable enough to where it could have never been on television anyhow. So I don't think that any of the content would have been changed for this reason, if that's what your question is. That's the
Yeah,
best
no,
way
I
can
don't.
answer
I don't
that.
think so. I'd be curious. Just let us know in the chat if there's something more specific because I'm curious. But I mean, it's so far down the road, and that show is going to be long done by the time ads roll. I don't think advertisers care too much. I mean, look, you got advertisers that'll put stuff on Hulu and HBO Max and all kind of other places. I know Disney tries to do things a little bit differently, but or at least with Disney Plus, I should say specifically. ESPN and Hulu are not part of that bevy, but um, I can't imagine what they would have changed for that because like I said, we're too far away from that. And unfortunately, kind of like some of these, Netflix movies. Looking at a report today, matter of fact, but these shows just have no holding power. Once they're done, they're completely off the radar, almost never to be watched again by anyone. So ads in December, it's not like people are going to still be going back and watching in droves reruns of all these Marvel shows. Nobody's doing that. Nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
In some cases, like me, you didn't even watch them.
Right. I've watched none of them since Loki because they all sucked up to that point.
Yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, Jeremiah, but I don't think that had much effect on their choices made in the program itself. But what else did we have? Yeah,
I was going to say, speaking of like a streaming, I don't know if this was on HBO Max or not, but the Time Traveler's Wife, the complete series, is getting a DVD only release on October 18th. It was an HBO exclusive show, so.
Yeah, it's kind of funky how some of these TV shows will only do a DVD release. Like in the US, we only got Cobra Kai on DVD.
Yeah, which is weird.
Like, what the hell is that all about?
Because if you want to watch it in HD or 4K, then you better be on Netflix.
Yeah.
I guess, but that still pisses me off because it's like you're still not getting truly the best quality you can off there. Even at their best. I mean, it's still...
Well, that's one of those things like I was talking about where the rewatch factor drops off for the vast majority of these things. That's why I think over the next few years, I still believe companies, even like Netflix, they're going to start farming out their library that's just sitting there not being watched. They'll farm it out to linear delivery broadcast channels, or they might start making Blu-ray boxes 2 or 3. Like once the series completes of Cobra Kai, Blu-ray box set, something like that.
That's what I'm thinking. And considering we just got the 4Ks of the first 3, I got to imagine.
With Stranger Things now. They put out Blu-rays of Stranger Things. I don't think they put out 4K.
Well, actually they did. I was going to say Stranger Things was one of the first shows to ever be released on 4K, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because like one of the second one was...
On physical media?
Yeah.
And then...
what was the second one was the revival of Twin Peaks, but it was only certain episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then otherwise, I can't think of any other show other than those 2 that have been released in 4K yet. Because I don't even think like the Western show that you guys are talking about all the time from Paramount and shit is even yet.
1883.
I saw Yellowstone on Blu-ray, but not 4K.
Yeah,
and I've been thinking about picking it up because it's not too badly priced at Walmart. But
I still need to watch. I watched 1883 because it was on Paramount Plus, but Yellowstone is on Peacock?
Yeah, that's the original show, right?
Right. It's made by Paramount, and they leased it or they sold it out. And then that's
the thing is now they're selling it on Blu-ray. So
right. Yeah, they didn't know it was going to be that big of a hit,
and it's got to be selling well.
Yeah,
because that thing is going for cheaper for all 4 or 5 seasons there are of that than 1 season of Discovery.
It's true.
I know.
If it tells you anything, that means they're selling that sucker like hotcakes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, any news on a Blu-ray Babylon 5 release? Didn't they say they were going to be doing one eventually? Because isn't that the show is that the show I'm thinking of that got remastered by HBO Max?
Like OG Babylon 5 from the 90s?
Yeah. I think that's in the cards, but they're going to use this. See, I agree with Valliant. That's the plus side to some of these. Eventually, when some of these shows start falling off of popularity on streaming, they will probably do releases of the shows themselves. And Shout Factory and Mill Creek and some of these other companies have been all over television shows if we don't get like the main companies releasing them. So I'm not too worried about it. With Warner Brothers, like there's a lot of people freaking out in the last couple of weeks who I do respect a lot, and they're worried about what Warner Brothers was saying. It signifies that they're not going to be supporting physical media, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think that what they're saying is they are going to be, but even though it may not have been a specific part of their charts, they're flat out saying they're going back to the classic model.
Yeah.
And at this point, DVD and Blu-ray are still a major part of the whole media model. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
DVD still sells quite a bit.
They're figuring it out. All these different, pay windows they used to have, and everything's I mean, my God, Zaslav and JB Perrette specifically brings that up during the Warner Brothers earnings call a couple of weeks ago that I covered. I mean, he says there, he's like, now, this is what used to happen. And he showed like all the different media windows from theatrical release down to broadcast television. And he's like, now what everybody does is spend the same money on a movie and then go right to streaming. And then he says, quote, "We don't believe in this model."
To me, VOD also encompasses home media. Yeah. Right, because it's basically the same thing.
He's like, we can't do this crap anymore. We still need Blu-ray sales and 4K sales. We still need PVOD, and we need pay one, pay two windows. They get it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think physical media is going to completely die off. But I don't expect every single Netflix show to get a premium release like Stranger Things.
Sometimes they're contractual too. They have to do only what they can. So
right. Yeah.
But Jeremiah also sends in another 5. Thank you so much. And asks, is Flash Gordon getting a 4K release? And to say yes, you can answer my question. It already has gotten a release.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got it from Arrow.
Yeah. And I think both internationally and in the U.S. So you shouldn't have a hard time getting your hands on it. Now, you may have a hard time getting your hands on the original collector's set that had like a poster and a book and all that kind of stuff in it. But last I knew, the standard 4K release was still readily available and not too badly priced, I don't think.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It's still like $20, I think.
Yeah, that's not bad for the 4K.
Yeah.
And it's an Arrow release, so it's a really nice set. So, yeah, but as Sanders says here, yes, DVDs still technically account for 60% of sales, which they've gone down quite a bit. They used to account for 80% still, but now 4K and Blu-ray are taking over the other parts. So, I don't think Warner Brothers is going to stop making DVDs and Blu-rays anytime soon.
Yeah, neither do I.
Speaking of that, what else you got for news and rumors for us, Greg?
Criterion announced their November releases. If you guys want to hear some of those,
I heard one of them or two of them today. Yeah.
Yes. I know about two of them. The other ones I don't really know. But the movie In the Mood for Love is coming to 4K from Criterion. It looks like it's a Japanese type film. The movie Daisies from 1966 is getting a Blu-ray. The movie The Power of the Dog, starring the guy that plays Doctor Strange, is getting a 4K. And
that looks like a newer movie. That was
that's a newer movie, I believe. The Infernal Affairs trilogy is getting a Blu-ray.
That's what I want to check out because that's what Departed is based on.
Yes, that's what Departed. Yep. Yeah. And finally, Malcolm X is getting a 4K in November from
one of the few good Spike Lee movies.
Yes.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. That's pretty much all I remember about that movie.
Well, that's what I always think about Dave Chappelle in Men in Tights.
Oh, yeah.
When he
they did come out around the same time, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie since they made us watch it in school, I think. It was like, it's been that long.
But I mean, that's pretty cool. It's getting a 4K from Criterion. So.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I'm not surprised, but I'm a little more let down by this patch of Criterion titles. Like, Malcolm X is cool and Infernal Affairs, but come on, guys. There's some other stuff you could have jumped on here that I know they're sitting on some 4K masters of anyway. But
like The Power of the Dog with Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean,
I remember that when it came out. Now, isn't that the movie that everybody was kind of saying shit about because it's kind of about a diddler or something like that, I think?
Something. I know, was it Clint Eastwood or somebody was putting it down because it was like they didn't think it was a good enough Western or something. Somebody was putting it down.
I know it was getting a lot of flack for a bunch of things, but I can't remember exactly what now. But
something like that. I don't remember all of it. But yeah. Or if you're looking forward to getting Jordan Peele's Nope, comes out October 18th. So yeah, that's a nope for me as well. I have no
Yeah.
yeah, not interested.
Saw the trailer for it. I'm like, okay. I mean, I like Jordan Peele. I didn't.
I liked
get
it the
what
first
movie
time it was called Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I'm like, oh, well, that was it. I'm like, okay, well, I don't get. What am I? Is aliens or something? What?
I've heard it wasn't his best, and a
They're
lot of people,
concentrated over a mountain. Yeah, like I
yeah, a
said,
lot
we've
of
seen
people
this
came out
before.
scratching their head after they saw the movie, didn't quite get it. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I didn't get
yeah,
it.
but yeah, nope. That's a nope all around.
Well, I had no international release. Did you
They
notice that?
didn't? No, I
They
didn't even
didn't?
pay attention.
Huh.
No, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Like, if you go look it up right now, it's domestic only, and which I just thought was bizarre in this day and age.
Maybe they just held off the porn until later, or they're just doing it digitally.
I mean, it's been out now.
I don't know how his
No,
other
that one,
films have.
it did finally. Okay,
Oh,
it
okay.
did finally come out August like 11th, like this past week. It hit everywhere, so they had a huge delay on it. So yeah, it's 109 million domestic and 7 million international right now.
Yeah, it's gonna barely break even, probably. Which I think this is gonna be one of the worst of Peele's films, ain't it?
Yeah,
It was the most expensive one.
Performance wise, yeah.
70 million budget.
Because I
Got too
know the
ambitious.
last two did pretty good, but
Yeah. Now, I mean, who's the distributor on that one? I don't even remember.
I think it's Universal.
yeah. I was gonna say when at Universal.
Okay, well, if it's Universal, then maybe there's some back end jack on it because Universal, they still have that deal with Netflix for all the or Amazon for all the live action.
That could be.
Or yeah, Amazon Prime. So that multi-year, multi-billion-dollar deal, everything from Universal goes to Peacock for the first 4 months after its theatrical run. Then the middle 10 months of that first pay window goes to Amazon Prime. Then the last 4 months of that pay one window comes back to Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the deals that they did with Bond, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But anyhow, what else you got first, Greg?
Well, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan of the new game and the new movie, for the Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary, they're releasing an Ultimate Bundle Steelbook with Mortal Kombat 11 and the new Mortal Kombat movie coming soon, September 26th.
Interesting. I also saw there's a new animated Mortal Kombat film coming as well.
Mortal Kombat Legends. I didn't get the date on that one, but yeah, that's coming too. So yeah, if you're a big fan of that, the steelbook's all right. If you like the movie, it looks like it's just a steelbook of the movie, not the game. So there's that. Lionsgate is giving another one of those Best Buy exclusive steelbooks, the Limey from Steven Soderbergh, starring Terrence Stamp and Peter Fonda and Luis Guzman. Comes out October 11th. Gomez Adams, Morticia. So that I know some people were pretty excited about that one. I still have never seen that. You guys ever seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I remember it being pretty popular on video. Have you ever seen the Limey?
The what is it?
The Limey.
The Limey. No, I don't think so.
I think he got nominated for Best Actor for that when it came out. It's not that old. I mean, it's older movie, but it's like 10 years, I think, if that. Because it came out when I had the video store. Or when I worked at the video store. So
yeah, I think I remember seeing it. Like, no, not seeing it, but like seeing things for it in the theater. Not that long ago.
I think he plays like if I remember
ago.
correctly, he plays like an old British, like fucking assassin or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But
so that, I mean,
it got a lot of critical praise at the time it came out, I remember.
Yep.
2000, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. That was some time ago.
So it was 20 years ago, sorry.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting it's not 2009 anymore.
I know. It's like when somebody says, the 90s was like 30 years ago. And you're like, no.
I used to make fun of my dad for that shit,
the 90s
too.
ended 30 years ago.
Because he would skip over a decade. And it's like, haha, you're skipping a decade. It's like, now I'm the same age he was when he used to do that. And I'm like, fuck.
Exactly.
Oh, Lord.
It's crazy.
All right, what else you got for us?
I know we've talked about the Columbia Classics. Did we ever give a date for that, for the new?
I don't think we got a date, but I know we did finalize the titles.
Yeah, it looks like on Amazon they have it for October 25th, Volume 3.
All right, so, sounds about right.
So it has that.
This one is I'm the least excited for. Like, I even posted a thing on Twitter. Like, where's, like, I named Tootsie and a couple other titles. I'm like, La Bamba and shit. Where is at least one of these bigger titles in this box set? I'm sorry, if they're banking on Annie and As Good as It Gets for their big titles in this set, that's not good.
Yeah.
There's other shit they could have in here, and I'm just kind of like scratching my head going,
I was seeing it. It looks like people are already giving it a 1-star review, pretty much saying the same thing.
That's not good. I think this is going to be this was kind of a snafu on their part. They needed a bigger title in here. This is not going to
not sell as good as the first two.
No, because at least the first two you had some, I mean, it was a nice selection, right?
Right.
And this one, there's nothing to really, I mean, as much as I like As Good as It Gets and stuff like that. Annie? You picked Annie over Tootsie? Are you fucking insane?
I think that's like As Good as You Get's in the Last Picture Show, which I think
La
is part of
Bamba, unless they're planning on just a standard release of La Bamba, because that motherfucker, you can't, sorry, excuse my language, I try not to do that on this show, but it just pisses me off because I paid almost $100 for that Blu-ray because it's out of print in the U.S. It was only released in a limited edition through Twilight Time. You can import it, but it looks like dog crap. Because it's like basically the DVD master. But they were promoting it a couple weeks ago for the 35th anniversary, and I called them out on their shit, and I'm like, where's the damn Blu-ray in 4K for this? It's the 35th anniversary. It's one of your biggest movies. Where is it?
Exactly. That's crazy. But it looks like you're not the only one to share that opinion about the box set because it's getting some 1-star reviews on Amazon already.
And I called most of those titles, which is sad, and that's just because I knew those were the ones they had some 4K masters for. But I also said Tootsie was going to be in there probably, and a few others that I'm kind of disappointed that weren't.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you want to pick it up, October 25th, for anybody's interested.
Yeah. I even thought they'd at least get Monty Python and the Holy Grail in there. That's what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah. I think
that one would have made sense.
I think
it would have pissed some people off, but it would have made sense.
Yeah. I think they're going to just all release the Monty Pythons at a certain time, put a box set of them together, probably.
I don't think there's going to be a box set now because Universal's releasing theirs separately.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And Life of Brian, I think Criterion had the rights to that last I knew.
Yeah.
And I do know there's 4K scans of all these films, but and we know Monty Python and the Holy Grail has a scan, and that's one I would assume Sony would just release anyway. But if they really wanted to like boost the quality of that third box set, that's what I would have done, is put that in there.
True.
Instead of whatever 70s movie they picked this time out. I don't remember what it was, unless that's what, because Annie was really, really early in the 80s, so that's kind of the one I think they have in that place. So.
Yeah. What year was the Last Picture Show?
That one I think was 70s, so maybe that's the one. But see, that's one of the only other ones that I can see being in there.
Yeah.
Like that one I understand. Because it was a, critical and stuff like that, and then Oscar. But no, like that's the whole thing about this Columbia box set. It's supposed to be their prestigious Oscar nominated type stuff, but the first box set at least had like Dr. Strangelove in it, and some other, League of Their Own, even though that was Oscar darling, but still, at least it was a popular film. Right? They at least made sure there was a couple popular films. Second one had fucking Taxi Driver and shit. I mean, come on. Second one was arguably maybe even better than the first box set. But then this one is like, well, what the hell are you guys doing? I get it. Some of your bigger films are out on 4K Blu-ray already, but still, this is no November. What was that, Valiant?
Said we didn't have anything left.
Bullshit. They have plenty left. That's the problem that bothers me, Valiant. Because that's what I said. Like, La Bamba is still one of their highest grossing films. Why isn't that in there? Like, that belongs in there. If anything, it's like, if you're not going to release that straight up flat out for the 35th anniversary, at least put La Bamba in this box set. Give it its due. You guys have never treated it like, you've treated it like shit its whole life, even though it made you a butt ton of money.
Richie. Love that movie, actually. It's pretty good.
Well, it's the reason Paulie and I, are friends. We bonded over that film and shit. I mean, it's just, and the soundtrack alone was one of the big, what's sad is Los Lobos had bigger hits with Richie Valens songs than Richie Valens did when he first did them.
It's true.
Because I don't think he hit number one with La Bamba. He might have, but I think their version of La Bamba stayed #1 longer or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it was crazy. And then their 2 or 3 other songs they did of his actually charted that he never did was able to get him that high. But still, yeah, at least it wasn't Annie 2014. But that ain't saying shit. But anyway, I've ranted too long on this, but no, sorry.
All right.
Because I'm a fan of these box sets and I feel very let down by this. So I totally understand how everybody's kind of feeling burnt by this one.
Well, you're not in the minority there, because just go on Amazon. You can see a couple people have already. Well, there went that. A couple people.
Hey, at least it's not Valliant this time.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry.
Usually you're the one making noise over there with digital noises.
But making its Blu-ray debut on October, or is this November? Yeah, October. No, what am I looking at here? November 22nd. Sorry, making its Blu-ray debut on November 22nd from MVD Rewind Collection, Ski Patrol. So if you've never seen that, that's from the writers of from
Police Academy, isn't it?
Police Academy, yeah. So that'd be pretty cool.
I remember seeing that one when I was sick as a fucking dog as a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I had the flu, like from one of the worst times as a kid in my life. So I ended up staying home from school for like almost a week. And so my parents just went and rented me a bunch of movies and stuff to watch, and that was one of them.
Nice.
And that one, Spaceballs, is one I remember from that haul. Gosh, but that's what it brings back that memory. It's kind of fucked up, but yeah.
I love that, like those old movies like that when you remember seeing them as a kid. I always remember seeing stuff like that on Comedy Central late at night and renting them myself. So
I just remember my mom going, "It's from the people who made Police Academy. You should like it." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you're into trashy 80s horror films, which these were last weekend, which we really didn't talk about, according to Flashback Weekend, which was a thing they had, Synapse Films is going to be releasing Just Before Dawn and Street Trash on 4K sometime in the future. So those are rumors at the moment. So if you're into like those 80s trashy horror type movies like that, especially Street Trash, which is whoa.
That's one I don't recognize. The other one I think I did, but yeah.
Just Before Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah, Just Before Dawn. But
yeah, Street Trash is crazy.
Anyway, what else you got for us?
I couldn't find anything like you mentioned earlier, but the rumors that possible the Kill Bill, the whole affair is coming. So I couldn't find anything about it, but I saw you brought it up. So
this father's saying it.
Oh, this father is saying it. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Which I'm not surprised. It seems like we're kind of going, but I think it's a little early because it seems like we're going down the line with the Tarantino movies here.
Yeah, it seems like it. We'll be getting to one in a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to talk about that here. Because True Romance was the first one that kind of technically came out. Right. And he does consider that technically one of his first films, even though he didn't direct it. He's still so attached to it. In fact, I just watched some of the commentary earlier. Hint, hint, I may be talking about it later.
Ooh, nice.
And he said flat out and I was like, yes, I thought he had said that before. So this is the commentary I was looking for, where he basically says, yeah, Christian Slater's character, that's him.
Yeah, like we talked about before, yeah.
Yeah, that's him. And he's like, so this is basically, all right, like this is basically like my home movies, but shot through the eyes of Tony Scott. Okay.
Classic.
So like all this other stuff is real, but like all the shooting and the drug stuff, that's cool. That's all made up, all right? Yeah, you know, like that's Tony Scott. But the rest, that's me. That's me. That's all me. He's like your friends. They would come up to me and they go, "That's you in the movie, right? It's totally fucking you, right?" He's like, yeah, it's me.
Which you could tell too once you really watched the movie. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
And he's like, it's all autobiographical. And he's like, instead of a video store, it was a comic book store and stuff like that. But still, it was like, Yeah.
Nice. And
well, I mean, he may have thought he was at some point. He was like obsessed with Elvis at one point. That was the whole thing.
Yeah. And one coming through the Vestra on Blu-ray that I'm really excited for, and I am, Tom. Earth Girls Are Easy
me
from
too.
1988. I almost said 1998.
Valiant, you ever seen this movie before? Are you aware of it?
Which one are you
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, yeah. I'm okay. Y'all mentioned a few. Yes, I remember that with Gina Davis.
Yes. Yeah. Jeff Goldblum.
Yep.
Jim Carrey,
Been a
Marlon
while, but
Wayans,
yes, I remember it.
Julie Brown.
Yeah.
It is a semi-sci-fi comic musical. I don't know what the fuck you'd call it.
Oh, it's a bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just it's
Yeah,
like a cult.
It is
classic.
definitely a child of the MTV era.
hmm Well, considering Julie Brown wrote it,
Yeah,
and
like
she was
it's
an MTV
not
VJ.
Downtown Julie Brown, but the other one.
Yeah, the other one, the white chick.
Yeah, with the red hair. And
Yeah.
it is bizarre as fuck, but it is a cult classic. If you haven't seen it, I'm glad it's finally getting a Blu-ray release because the DVD that's been out there for almost 30 years now is shit.
It is.
It is literally a rip of the Laserdisc. And the digital version that's been out there now for a couple years is a cropped version of the movie. So it's cropped off for 16:9 TV. So it's pretty much the cable version.
Right.
So yeah, it looks like garbage. So it is about damn time this movie gets some love.
It is, and the Vestron's been doing pretty good with their
Yeah.
transfers and stuff. So I'm looking forward to
Hopefully it's getting a soundtrack upgrade too. That'd be nice because
that would
I'm
be.
trying to remember. I think the DVD might have had AC3 5.1, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was
have to
made
look
late
for it.
enough that I'm sure they had digital sound, but
Yeah. And it had a great cast too. I mean, a lot of who's who
yeah.
before they were famous: Jim Carrey, Damon Wayans, Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis. It was great.
Did I say Damon before or did I say Marlon accidentally?
You might have
bugging
said
me now.
Marlon. I don't
I think
know.
I accidentally said Marlon. But I meant Damon,
Remember
of
Wayans
course.
Brothers.
Half the Wayans are in there. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely like a snapshot of that time period of California.
The Valley Girls type stuff and all
Yes,
that.
the day glow, the whole shebang.
Well, technically, it'd only be 1/3 of the Wayans.
Actually, a lot
Yeah.
less than that.
Damon, Well, I remember Damon, Marlon, and Keenan.
There's about 5 or 6 of them altogether. Because there's
I
the
just remember the ones
sister,
that were always on the. Oh, that's right. I forgot. She was one of the.
and there's
yeah.
another brother you're not thinking of too, and I can't remember his name.
Was he on in
Me
Living
neither.
Color too, or was he too young? at the time?
Sean. I forgot
Wayans, yeah. Sean and Marlon did a TV
They
show
all were
together.
on Living Color at one point or another. Yeah,
Probably in the
Yeah.
yeah, because I think the youngest was too young to be on the show. Because like I remember when they
he
started.
came in later, I think.
Yeah, Keenan and Damon were on there, and then Marlon was
Came
way
in-
later.
Sean was on there once in a while, but I think he was one of the younger ones, and then the sister was on there from the start too. I can't remember her name, but
Of course, they all
Kim,
did
I
scary,
think it was
scary
Kim.
I
movies.
was just about to say Kim. Was that Kim?
yeah, I think it's Kim. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the 5. I think there's 6 or 7 altogether, though. But like, I can't remember. I think there's 1 or 2 that's not in the business. But then there's like, I think another younger one yet too that never.
And now
quite-
there's Damon Wayans Jr.
Yeah, then there's Damon Wayans Jr. on top of that. Oh, we
Yeah,
forgot
who's out there
Shemp.
now.
Shemp, we forgot. He didn't like doing the stunts though, so
Shemp Wayans.
Shemp Wayans.
But we do have a new Kino Lorber 4K Red Dragon.
Yes.
With a new HDR Dolby Vision Master coming soon. No date on that yet.
You know what's
so,
fucked up is I actually knew this was coming and I totally spaced out telling anybody about this like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, because I was pissy about it because I'm like, well, we're getting Red Dragon. What about Manhunter? For those who don't know, Manhunter is the original version of Red Dragon, but yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be pretty cool. It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed that one. Red Dragon was all right.
It's not
I
too
like Manhunter.
shabby.
Yeah.
Manhunter's better
Manhunter's
though,
better.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say Manhunter's better, but it's not too bad.
The worst part of Red Dragon is this. You have to pretend that Anthony Hopkins doesn't look 20 years older than he did in Silence of the Lambs.
I know. I remember.
And that stupid ending. I hate that ending.
Yeah.
There's somebody here to see you, some woman from the FBI. Oh my God. I'm like, are you serious?
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
No, you did not have to have that in there. That was totally unnecessary. And that's another character too. The doctor is like 20 years older too.
Yeah. As I said, because I remember seeing an interview with Anthony Hopkins. He was like, I had to get back down to lose 20 pounds for that to make myself look like that. I'm like, dude, you did not. You
didn't do shit.
you look like you're way older and heavier than you were in the first movie.
He may have lost 20 pounds. I'm not going to say he didn't, but you can't tell. You're not.
Yeah,
You needed to be 40.
What was that, Valiant?
Said it needed to be 40. I lost 20 pounds, but I was
from each
supposed to
ass
lose
cheek.
40.
Yeah. Have you seen him lately though? That's why I said he may have at that time, but yeah, he's kind of let himself go down a little bit.
Well, what does he have to care of this?
Exactly. What does he got to look good for? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Are there any good Brett Ratner films? Well, Red Dragon was pretty good. I mean, as far as the adaptations go, I like Rush Hour. I didn't like the second and third one, but I like Rush Hour.
Yeah, I like the first one. I didn't care for the other two.
Money Talks was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I like the second Rush Hour. I mean, not
it's
as much
okay.
as the first, but the third one, the third one like turned on the weak sauce. The only funny bits about that, of course, like are the outtakes at the end.
Yeah, I didn't hate the second one. But.
Yeah, the outtake. I mean, the best outtake at the end of the second one was when the guy falls out the window and they have to do a spit take, and Tucker forgets the line as always and just comes out and goes, "Oh, he ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3."
Yeah. Or Rush Hour 4 or whatever it was. Yeah.
No, that
because Rush Hour 3 was that in 2? Okay, I was gonna say because 3 was like 10 yeyears too late. It felt like, even though it was only a couple of years since the last one. And
Chris Tucker
gained like 20 fucking pounds. Yeah.
It was supposed to be like, we just got off the plane from Paris and I gained 20 pounds on the flight back.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well.
Croissants were really good.
No, it was like because he was literally just sitting there eating pizza, waiting for Jackie Chan to be ready to shoot part 3. That's why. Yeah. He's like, I can't take any movies right now, just in case Jackie calls. I gotta be ready. No, fuck. Nobody wants Rush Hour 4 but him at this point.
Yeah. What else does he got to do? Come on, man.
Jackie Chan's like, I hated making those movies.
Jackie's almost 70 now? He's got to be.
He hated making those movies, he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because he's not good at it. Well, he hates doing English movies because he can't speak English for shit.
Yeah.
So they have to feed him the lines through the whole damn thing.
He does pretty well, though. I mean, when he does it, I mean, and he probably just doesn't give himself enough credit. But I've never complained about his English.
No, but at this point, he's like you just said, he's 70 years old. What the fuck's he got to prove to anybody? He don't need Rush Hour 4.
I like some of the, he's still doing movies in China, and he's playing roles that are certainly more adapted to his age in life now, and he does a really good job. He's an amazing actor. You put him in those serious roles, he does phenomenally well.
Yeah, I remember he just had one come out not too long ago where they were talking about how good he was. He almost got Oscar buzz for that. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I heard he was really good.
Trying to remember which one that was.
Oh,
it was one of his like way more serious ones that he did.
I'm trying to remember.
More recently, wasn't it? I know which one you're talking about.
Very recent.
Well, I remember saying like after watching The Karate Kid, I'm like it was shit, but if anything, that's the movie Jackie Chan deserved to get nominated for an Oscar for.
Oh, he was great in it. The rest of the story was it was so limp. I'm sorry.
And that was just because it wasn't Mr. Miyagi, and that's why I liked it. Well, it was a completely different character, right?
They just called it The Karate Kid, but it had no karate in the whole movie.
Well, there's that too. But otherwise, all of the story beats for Will Smith kid character, what is it, Jaden?
Yeah.
All his story beats are exactly the same story beats from the first film, down to a T.
Oh yeah. But once you bring in, the villain is 12.
I know. Well, that's the other problem I had with the movie is these kids are way too young for this to be even happening.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other side of it was I did enjoy, or I hate to use the term enjoy because it's so tragic, but what they did with Jackie Chan's character compared to Mr. Miyagi's is a completely different character. And I liked that aspect of the film. I'm like, if they could have done this a little bit more, and I agree with most people just called it the Kung Fu Kid as kind of a spin-off, similar but different, I wouldn't have given a shit. And I don't think most people would have either.
I think that would have been more accepted, yeah.
I'm glad they didn't go with the sequel, though. I don't know if you guys know what the sequel was supposed to be.
I don't even want to know.
No, I don't. Yeah,
it got really close to production, and we bring it up in our retrospective. But basically, Jackie Chan gets killed in the first 15 minutes.
Oh God!
Oh yeah, that'd have been bad.
That'd have been awesome.
The rest of the movie is Jaden going to defend him.
There goes all the heart and soul out of the movie.
I'm sure
I was trying to think of with Jackie Chan as The Foreigner.
Yeah, the
Foreigner.
foreigner.
Okay,
People in the chat were
People are
dropping
saying it.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Foreigner.
Yep.
That he was good.
I
in
remember that now that you say the
Yeah.
title. Yep. But
He
yeah,
got
like
some
that
buzz
was.
for that one.
I suppose whoever Sato was supposed to be in their universe probably gets Jackie, and so then Jaden was supposed to have to go after
Oh
his
man,
fucking.
that would have been even
It would have
worse.
turned it into something completely different.
Yeah,
They were
that would have
clearly
been
trying
bad.
to go into this action, like action star genre. But anyway, enough of that.
Yeah.
We got more news to go on. We got
Yeah,
tons
we
of
got
titles.
some Severin titles. We got a
Oh, don't
two-disc
remind me.
Yeah, we got a 2-disc Blu-ray for Tales to Keep You Awake. Comes October 25th. I'm not sure if I've ever seen that one, but it's the legendary Spanish anthology series. We have My Grandpa is a Vampire from 1992, coming from Severin on October 25th.
Now where's My Best Friend's a Vampire?
Yeah, I want that movie. That I was looking at the DVD. Oh my god, it's still like 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's horrible.
If we ever get a boutique Blu-ray company going, some of the first movies we're going to do are Polish Vampire and that. I swear.
Yes, definitely Polish Vampire
and Free Enterprise. But yes, anyway.
Yeah, we'll package the two vampire movies together like the Shout
Exactly.
did with the Jim Carrey one. And speaking of vampires, here you go from Severin: Dracula versus Frankenstein in a 2-disc Blu-ray with a slipcover on October 25th as well. And
Now,
it comes with a bonus movie.
That's not the Universal one, right? That's a
No, it's not the Universal one.
I want to say Hammer, but is it Hammer? No.
It looks to be similar to a Hammer movie.
I was going to say I know which one it is, but
Hammer.
I'm trying to remember who put it out. But that's one I was kind of cool because of course it's a Frankenstein movie, Dracula movie.
And it comes with a bonus movie called Brain of Blood. So
never complain about bonus movies.
Yeah. And then finally, the one that you were really upset about, The Changeling is coming to a 3-disc 4K UHD set with the Blu-ray CD slipcover on October 25th from Severin.
I'm not upset because we're getting a 4K of it, but I literally just fucking bought the Blu-ray.
Yes.
I was like, are you fucking from Severin? From their site and everything. Like, I just got the box last week and I just bought it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly.
I didn't hear a rumor about this.
It just popped up.
Jesus, kind of like pregnancy.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they're going all out for the big set because I'm sure they'll do a single 4K release afterwards, but you get the 4K Blu-ray and the CD, which I assume is the soundtrack for the movie, the score and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then we get 48 Hours in 4K coming December 6th, it looks like, from Paramount Movies. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to see what
this has been a bit of a controversial title for people.
Yes.
Now, Valliant, I don't know if you bought it last year when it came out, but they brought out 48 Hours and another 48 Hours on regular Blu-ray last year. But they were mastered from the 4K masters.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, wait, do I have? I do. Wait, I just watched 48 Hours. Wait, did I watch? Do I have the disc? No, I don't think I have the disc.
Because, yeah, I went and bought them in digital on 4K since they pulled that with Trading Places as well and a few other titles. Golden Child, another one. So I thought, okay, they're only going to do the big Eddie Murphy titles in 4K. Okay, fine, whatever. Motherfuckers, if they didn't turn around and now they're going to release 48 Hours in 4K. And this isn't the first time they've done this. There's another title, which help me remember, Greg. There was another title.
Oh yeah, what was
that they just released not too long ago in this Paramount Presents. That's getting a 4K release now too, and I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember it either.
So this is not the first time this has happened in the last few weeks. We were just talking about it. And it's not Wayne's World either. It's something else, because it was one that was actually remastered. So I remember buying it. But regardless. So yeah, is it Fatal Attraction, Coffee Lover? That might be
Fatal Attraction just came out on 4K. It's coming out.
Yeah. See, that's kind of something they've been pulling lately. And they're not the only ones to do this. So we can't say, oh, Paramount's the only one doing this shit. But this is kind of something that's pissing off a lot of the physical media fans, because you're really pissing on the people that are keeping your ass alive right now with this thing. The people, because what you're going to do then is kill a lot of these ancillary sales. The people aren't going to pick up the Blu-ray if they know a 4K is coming down the road. And for a while, Paramount was doing a really good job of dropping a 4K version and a Blu-ray version at the same time. They did it with Addams Family, Top Gun, a couple other ones in the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, they quit doing that, and I don't understand what the fucking deal was, and I don't think anybody has an answer to that other than them. But I hope they quit this practice in the future, because in the past it has done nothing but piss people off.
Exactly.
It's just stopping people from buying some of these movies.
I think they thought maybe they could make a little more money. Maybe we'd do the Blu-ray first and then the 4K down the line. It's like, just do like you were doing before. Exactly, you know.
Well, and if you're going to do that, then make the DVD cheaper or Blu-ray cheaper, because that's the other part that pissed me off.
Yeah, because it's still like $20-something.
$20 a piece, for the fucking 48 hours and another 48 hours. And God knows another 48 hours is going to come 6 months down the road after that.
Oh, yeah.
Watch and see. And I think that's about it. Unless, is there anything I missed? Because I know you.
Well, we did bring up Frankenstein is getting a standard release. I don't know if that was worth bringing up.
Frankenstein 4K, because I think they announced that a little while back.
That's already been out for a while, but it's just getting a standard release. There's a couple other films that are getting re-released again in either special packaging and whatnot, like Ex Machina, which I think we mentioned before.
Zavi's got exclusive steelbook of that. So you talk about the like the Last Action Hero and Spider-Man, and
all those are getting re-released again in the steelbooks. But there was a couple. There's E.T. is getting a really fancy re-release. I haven't heard yet if they're doing anything different than the previous release. So until I hear that, I don't know. The
looks only like the packaging is the bells and whistles on that.
Yeah, it looks like it's just like you can get a version of it that has like there's a steelbook, and then that has like an 80s vintage kind of package looking to it. And then there's also this fancy box set for about $70 that has what looks like a lunchbox, a thermos, some other goodies, like a preview of the upcoming visual encyclopedia, or whatever you want to call it, ultimate visual guide that's coming out this fall, which I already had pre-ordered besides this. So it's like, okay, cool. Kind of like they did with Back to the Future a couple of years back. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
They kind of had a preview version of the ultimate Back to the Future guide in with the movies, like a truncated version of it. So you can get that for like $70. Again, I don't know if they're adding or doing anything to the film itself. From what I remember, I believe it was already in Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision from before, so I don't think the film needs any upgrades. I don't know if they're adding any other special features or anything like that either. Yeah,
the one I have is pretty good, so I don't think I'll be going for that one. Also, before we get to the final, the one, I don't know if we brought this up, but The Usual Suspects looks like it's coming October 25th. I don't know. I know it's been talked about, but I didn't know.
Yeah, that's one we've never actually had a fucking date for. Now we got a date for it. And speaking of, that was one of the movies in our poll. So why don't we end our poll now, since we have? Yeah, there you go. Pretty much, I think everybody's had a chance to vote. And the final results are Reservoir Dogs, way ahead of everything else. So Usual Suspects number 2, 48 Hours, and The Score. Only 1% wanted to see The Score. That's the other one we got a date for, was The Score, but I think we talked about that at the last show.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
But before we get into Reservoir Dogs, which is the big announcement this week, I did get one other rumor besides Kill Bill that you didn't happen to pick up on.
Go ahead.
Home Alone 2.
Oh, yes. I heard that we weren't getting that in 4K.
Well, I've heard some rumors, so we'll see. Because I believe it does. It has a 4K master on Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken. And according to the Disc Father, for the 30th anniversary, it will be getting probably a similar release to what the first film did. And I wouldn't be surprised, because Disney has kind of been releasing 1 or 2 Fox titles every fall. And I would consider Heat, even though it was a previously Warner distributed title, they got the releasing now through Fox. So I think that would be one of the titles. And then, so I'm expecting at least 1 or 2 more out of them this fall. It seems like they've had an average of a couple for Christmas time out. You know what I mean?
I think those are probably because Fox had them done before the sale.
Yes. But same thing with Home Alone 2.
Yes, sure. Yes, so that's interesting, because I didn't realize that, because the last I heard it wasn't going to happen, so that's nice to know.
I wouldn't be surprised. It all depends on how well how they sold the last couple of years, and that's the thing is Christmas movies always sell well, so I'm not surprised on that. But yeah,
Sure.
unless you had any other news or announcements, we got the word
I
that
believe, yeah, I was gonna say, I
Reservoir
believe that's all. Yeah.
Reservoir
Sorry.
Dogs is finally coming. Which this thing
Mhm.
needed a remaster anyway, because let's be real, I don't know if you have the old Blu-ray or not, Valiant, but
Oh yeah.
it is a rough scan.
Yeah.
It's not very good.
No, this movie has never really had a spectacular treatment. Matter of fact, I was always very happy with the Laserdisc copy I had. Then I had it on DVD, which didn't really get too big of a step up. The Blu-ray came out, and you could say, okay, but you're feeding it to a native 1080 TV, you get a little bit brighter image because there's not as much.
It was a very early Blu-ray. I think that was part of the problem.
It just even I think they had was it the 20th anniversary edition,
20th or 25th or something like that.
When they put it on Blu-ray, and it was okay, but it was never. I don't remember it being particularly just eye-popping. There's so much in that movie with I think that HDR is going to help out, especially with all those black suits they wear, the black ties, high contrast. That's the kind of stuff that HDR and Dolby Vision really, really can sing.
Well, and a lot of this is during the day. That's another upside. So they could, they shot it that way so they could save money on lights, but that's the plus side, though, of being at 4K is it's going to pop. The whole movie's going to look brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very interested to see how the scan turns out and whether Tarantino will have anything to do with it.
I would hope so. And especially after the snafu of Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
I have yet to hear him say anything about that, but I'm waiting for him to rip that one a new asshole.
Maybe he'll do it on the Reservoir Dogs 4K. That'd be awesome.
Well, because here's the thing. I got to imagine that he has a similar deal to Cameron to where he has the say over what versions get put out there. Because it's kind of a similar thing with him because they did the same thing with Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and every other movie he's done.
That was the 15th anniversary edition in 2000.
Was it the 15th? Wow.
2007. It's been another 15 years. This will be the 30th anniversary edition. Yeah. Holy hell.
Because they actually had...
I did not think it was that long.
They had a few different DVD releases. They had a few different DVD releases of Reservoir Dogs, but they didn't have very many of They only had the one on Blu-ray, and then they just repackaged it from then on out. See, and that's the same thing with Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown. They were always the repackaging of the special edition DVD set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he has a similar situation with like Cameron to where he has to sign off on whatever master is used. So that's probably what Universal did. They just upconverted the 1080p master and they put it out because they didn't have to get him to sign off on it then. So I'm just waiting for him to bitch about that. I'm sure he's got a glorious rant coming sooner and later about that. Because I feel like he's kind of embracing 4K because it seems like he's had all his films scanned, it sounds like, from what I heard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Have you guys watched his podcast or listened to it any?
I didn't know he had a podcast.
Oh, you don't know? No. Him and his friend, I can't remember the other guy's name, they discuss, which is right up my alley.
Why wasn't I told about this? Who's in charge?
Yeah, it's on YouTube too. You check it out. They discuss their days at the video store. They talk about their favorite VHSs and movies and stuff from the past that they really love, that they grew up with when they went to the video store. It's awesome. I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah.
I'll try and find that. Yeah, that sounds interesting. But Coffee Lover, there's a reason for this, and that is because of the company that owns the film Reservoir Dogs was originally Live Entertainment and then has subsequently been bought out. Now it's Studio Canal. Okay, like 10 years down the line, which is then in the U.S., Lionsgate usually releases Studio Canal films. That's why. So in the U.S. distribution side of things, Lionsgate, through all those various avenues, has the distribution on Reservoir Dogs. But the rest of them, as pointed out here somewhere in the chat, I can't see it now. Oh, yeah, like you said here. Oh, you say it right in this thing. The Miramax films are with Paramount. Yeah. Technically, Reservoir Dogs was a Miramax film, but that was before Miramax was a studio under Disney. That's why, too. So that movie came out like 2 years, I think, before Disney and them had their deal. Or a year or two. So Pulp Fiction would have been the first movie he made with them that would have been under the Disney banner, if that makes sense. I want to say it was 92 or 93 that the Weinsteins made their deal with Disney.
Nice. Yeah, it's weird. So that's why I'm hoping Lionsgate's been putting out some pretty good 4K
Yeah,
lately,
Artisan was
so,
one of the names of the company at
Yeah.
some point too. Like it's had a lot of different names.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's going round and round and
And they
round.
bought Hemdale and not RKO, what's the one I'm thinking of? American Pictures release, the one with the eagle on the thing. Republic.
Republic. Yeah.
Yeah, so they ended up buying all their catalog too, so all those got soaked up into it. So it gets really kind of convoluted.
See, I always remember Artisan because there's at least, and I don't care who out there doesn't like what I'm about to say, but damn it, I like this, and I still like it. Once a year, I will still pull out my 2-disc DVD set, because they ain't made anything since, of the sci-fi Dune show movie. Sci-fi
Oh, yeah.
channel.
Actually, they did
2000.
release that in the on Blu-ray over the seas. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but find it. That's the
Actually,
problem.
I'll send you a link for it because I got it not too long ago.
Oh,
Because
did
I think Umbrella just re-released it here a couple months back. Yeah.
I did not know that. I would love it.
Yeah,
I-
it was
I
just
enjoyed,
same
I
time as the
enjoyed
new
that
movie
version.
came out. Yeah. And I
But
got it. It's like
I
3-4
looked in the
discs.
past and I never could find it. And that's what happens if you don't snap them up when they're there. Like, we talked about this. Well, we didn't talk about it on the show yet, but I'll mention it kind of briefly. Try to find a copy of Event Horizon on 4K right now.
Yeah.
You have to go to
That is,
eBay. You have to go to eBay, and it's going to cost you about $100.
yes, it's crazy. That went up quick.
I'm so pissed I didn't order more copies now.
Yes.
I thought about ordering 2 or 3 to like just because I had a feeling. I wonder how many of these they're making. We saw this happen with The Godfather. I pre-ordered the one. I'm like, I won't get greedy. And then Greg sent the thing in the private chat like the day after it came out. Like when it hit or within a week of it coming out, every copy everywhere. Amazon, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, doesn't matter. You cannot buy a copy retail. You've got to go on eBay now and roll the dice.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Mine's
Do
still in
not
plastic.
wait on these.
I got it though. I
Wait
did
on
get it.
these.
Let's see here. Primark Broken says, speaking of James Cameron, he supposedly working on, an actual 4K release of The Abyss and True Lies, but his dumb Avatar sequels are delaying them. Yeah, that's pretty much the case. We have talked about this before. Supposedly The Abyss and True Lies are ready. They have masters, and that might even, in fact, I think The Abyss is one of the other ones we've talked about before that might be one of the ones that Disney will end up dropping this Christmas time, just in time for Avatar, because we know Avatar is getting re-released too. So,
Oh, I did find that Dune thing on. This was not here a few months ago.
yeah, this is fairly new. Yeah, this is a
You
fairly
have
new
it?
release. Yeah.
How does it look?
Pretty good, pretty decent for considering what it is. I mean,
Well, I understand. No, that's
it's
what
worth
I'm
the
saying.
upgrade, that's for sure, because it has both movies in it. I don't know if it
Okay.
carries over all the special features in the Artisan discs had. That's the only thing I'd hang on to that just in case.
Well, I'm not.
'Cause that's
getting
one thing.
rid of
Artisan
it.
always had great special features, but
Oh, they
Well,
did.
They got
yeah.
it. It's $16. I'm gonna buy it right now.
There
you
you
can get it cheaper than when. Yeah, I paid 20 for it. I think back in the day. So.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Playback
but yeah,
region
I wouldn't be
B.
surprised if The Abyss comes out this fall or winter.
Yeah,
Primark,
'cause
or
that's supposed to be
maybe
done.
the same time Avatar 2 comes out on 4K. I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But True Lies, that's up to Disney, and that came out what, 94?
Sometime, somewhere around there, yeah.
I would imagine 2024 we'll see a anniversary release of it. Maybe.
Hopefully.
If anybody out there, since I brought that up, be careful. There's 3 copies of the Region A, Region 1 one left. Dude, there's another one on there that's like, it says specifically it's Region B for Dune 4K for the TV series. Don't buy that one unless you
Yeah,
got
the
one.
umbrella ones, even though the umbrella ones are actually region free, even though they say they're region B, but yeah.
Yeah, Umbrella's pretty good. Still
Yeah.
can't get over the
Well,
Ghoulies
both of
one.
them
That's
said Umbrella, which is
awesome.
weird. So I'm gonna get the one that
Well, the
doesn't have
older
the
one might
warning on
not
it.
be. See, because I had some older umbrella ones that I think are region locked, but this is, I believe, one of their re-releases, so it's not. And I think it's from a newer scan or something like that.
Is it?
I think so, because I know people were saying this is the one you should get, so that's the one I got.
See, that's what I'm saying. It looks weird the way they have it, and it's like one says Blu-ray July 30th, 2021, but if you click on, and the other one's Blu-ray November 2016. But if you click on the one that says 2021, it says playback region B2, and then it has a warning. It says this will not play on most Blu-ray players sold in North
It
America.
might not. I'll have to check it. I thought it played in my regular player though.
Maybe not.
But yeah, you want the newer release is what I got. But do you have a region free player or no?
I don't think. Well, I say that. I could be wrong. That I think both of my Uppo machines are actually region free.
They might be.
I think they are.
Nice.
If
I
not,
need
you
to
can
get
get some
one.
decent ones for cheap. Well, not cheap,
Yeah.
cheap, but cheap enough anyway.
And you can't, like, you know what, speaking of, we talked tech a little bit, you know, Yellow Flash last week was asking about finding a region free player. And because I would have told him, matter of fact, because I was going to suggest the Uppo, but they don't make them anymore. And then I thought, well, let me go look on eBay. Oh my God, those Uppos, the 203 and the 205 model, UDP 203, 205.
Worth a lot now, yeah.
Holy, they'd won $1,000 for a 203.
Because they're some of the best players that at the time.
$2,500 for a 205. They retailed for half of that. I paid $1,300 for my 205 and $499 for my 203, and they are double that plus now on eBay.
Nobody could figure out why they quit manufacturing them.
No, you go to their website, it's like nothing there. It's so weird.
They just up and quit. I don't know if it's just they couldn't sell on the regular market or what, but like as far as like high end, you know, cinephiles and audiophiles and stuff like we are, like that's the Oppo was the brand, right?
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Oh, they're built like tanks. I mean, it's the kind of look. The $500 player they made was fabulous. If you had like a high end audio system and you wanted to use a single player for every format possible with dedicated, like the most expensive digital to analog converters they made just for stereo 2-channel, you know, to play back CDs, SACDs, MP3s, or everything. Then you had that's why I got the higher end one for my main system for my, you know, critical listening thing. But that $500 Uppo player, you could not beat that value anywhere for what that thing was. That thing is a tank, and it is gorgeous. And yeah, it's a shame they're gone. But man, are they expensive now to try to find them.
And
That's crazy.
then Carl's... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I just can't believe... I was just saying I can't believe that still. Go on.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Carl's Art Universe had a question here, it looks like. There's a controversy about the Lord of the Rings 4K set online from recent months about whether they are real 4K or 2K upscales. Any thoughts? They're both.
Yeah. So what they did, my understanding, Carl, is that they went back and they used the original film negatives to where like the scenes that had little to no any kind of post VFX digital integration. Then there are the scenes where they had like the big battle scenes where there was so much CGI going on. Those film negatives were scanned and done with, you know, 2K intermediates for some of that. So it's kind of a combination. It's, you know, it's not a pure 4K original because it doesn't really exist because of the CGI in post. But at the same time, it's not like the whole thing is just a pure 2K. It was a complicated... Blu-ray.com actually, I think, talked about it on their review originally of it on the 4K box set. But I don't know if Tom has anything else you want to add or...
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it ourselves here, and I think we talked about it over on the Physical Media show with Greg, and unfortunately, there's some issues with it. It looks better than it's ever looked before, but Peter Jackson has this obsession with scrubbing the fuck out of things. And unfortunately, when it comes to this, regardless of what source he used, he scrubs the fuck out of everything. So there was actually things that were getting lost in the background of the picture. Let me see if I might even have the example here still, to be honest with you.
Actually, here, while you're looking for that, I'm going to read this. This is from Blu-ray.com.
Sure.
Each film in this trilogy has been granted a new 2K restoration by Veda Digital, which involved a new scan of a new scan of the camera negatives and visual effects film mounts with digital VFX upscaled from 2K elements.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying it's kind of like a funky hybrid, how they did it.
Yeah. And see, to make those 4K scans of scenes to fit in with the other stuff, like this is for instance here, this is zoomed in on a shot. You can still make out like the top of his staff there, for instance. In the 4K version, it is so scrubbed, it disappears into the background.
I hate DNR.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
that issue, and then there's some people who are upset over some of the color timing issues. Because say you have a scene like this from the original version of the Blu-ray,
Hmm.
now looks like this in the 4K version.
Yeah, they changed certain.
It's just a choice that Peter made.
Don't ask me why.
That was it. He just said he decided he wanted to do it differently. Instead of having it be the blue-gray wash, it's just a flat black and white.
Yeah, I like the blue-gray wash better.
Yeah. Which the whole third film did have kind of a blue wash to it.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't watched them all the way through myself to really compare and contrast, but yeah, I've heard some back and forth on it, but the price on it, and considering it's the best versions we're ever going to get, I'm just gonna have to take it as it is. You know,
Yeah.
there's this patch of films, and this is something we talk about all the time that really sucks when you would sit there and think, well, wouldn't the newest films or the newer films give you the best experience when it comes to the new formats like 4K? Sadly, no.
No,
Not
because
always.
speaking of Child's Play, I was watching that, and my nephew was in the kitchen, and I was like, dude, come here, look at this. And he comes in, he looks at it, he goes, whoa, I'm not used to seeing film gram. He goes, that looks so much better than anything new I've ever seen. So he was like, so.
Yeah, and the reason for that is, and I'm glad you kind of mentioned that because that's just it. If it's not shot on film, and if it has any digital effects, chances are it's going to be an upconvert.
Yep.
And if it's something that has a lot of digital effects, even if it's shot on film, all that stuff's going to probably be upconverted.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no time that I know of in the history of movies so far where they've actually went back and upgraded the actual effects to 4K.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, you're talking about potentially tens of millions of dollars of additional work to make that happen, and that just because then it has to be reintegrated back into scanned film from. It's basically like doing all the post all over again. So it's really really difficult. So that's why they just do the upconverts, and there's not. Any like we talked about this before. Any movie you're going to watch today that's shot digitally, at least for the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, that has a lot of post-production VFX, think everything from Marvel, you're never going to get original 4K of that because it doesn't exist. It can't exist. Now, things are getting better because computers are getting a lot more powerful, and I'm sure the artists and the VFX departments are going to want to try to migrate in that direction to, put as much artistic detail as they can into the final product, but we're probably still a few years away from actually seeing that on the retail end in terms of what movies they're like. The movies they're starting to make right now, you might have more of that. But you'll notice most of the films you get are like that. And with rare exceptions with, movies that have little to no VFX at all might go 4K from straight to from start to finish.
Yeah, great examples in last year, even though it was one of the more popular ones. I thought Spider-Man No Way Home 4K is one of the worst looking 4K films I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I was so unimpressed by it. I'm like, this looks dingy. It looks muted and just feels muddy. Like, it just doesn't feel like something doesn't feel right about it. Yeah. Now I did pick up the 3D version, but unfortunately this is region locked. So I have to drag my fucking region free player upstairs here so I can watch this sumbitch.
Oh no.
So we'll see if this looks any better. I even though I've heard that this isn't the best 3D experience, somebody brought it up earlier in the chat. I still feel like this is probably going to look better than the 4K Blu-ray, I bet. Especially watching it on my plasma. I have a feeling already. And that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of these films. And another one that reminds me of that is, funny enough, it was a Marvel film. My 3D version of the IMAX version of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, one of the best 3D Blu-rays I've ever had. One of my, when I show off, if I'm going to show somebody, reference stuff. I flipped on the 4K on Disney Plus one day just to check it out. Looked like garbage. I'm like, okay, it's got to be because it's streaming. Well, fortunately, that was one of the last 3D movies they released in the US, and they actually packaged the 3D Blu-ray with the 4K Blu-ray and the regular Blu-ray when it came to Guardians 3. So I have the 4K Blu-ray. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to toss it in. Same problem as Spider-Man. Dingy, not quite all there. It's like, how is the picture and the colors better in the 3D version than the 4K version? I don't understand that. The 4K version looks like it's all. Remember when you used to dub movies back in the day, and you get that degradation between the two, and it kind of had that muddy look to it.
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of.
Huh.
It felt like I was going from that clarity of the 3D version to, for some reason, even though they were supposedly adding clarity to it with the 4K, it felt muddier now. Same thing I felt with Spider-Man.
Yeah, it sucks.
And
honestly, I didn't watch Spider-Man No Way Home carefully enough when I got it on disc. I kind of threw it in.
I mean, it looks okay. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, no. I didn't.
But I'm like, compared to what I'm used to like what Greg was talking about with film, and compared to a film.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is night and day at this point.
Look, the film scans, we've talked about that before. That's where the beauty of 4K really happens, is the remastering of film stock from, older movies before the digital revolution, before ARRI was a thing. Call it pre-2010, pre-2005, in that range when it was starting to transfer over. That's where the biggest differences are coming in, is that older restoration of film stock films that, just don't have much CGI to them, at least.
Yeah. And speaking of problems, I did bring this up earlier on. Child's Play 3 does actually have a problem. Slight problem at about 40, I think some 41 minutes and 20 seconds or something like that. Just a slight audio dropout on both the Blu-ray and DVD and the Dolby Atmos track. It is so minor, I don't think Shout's going to do anything about it. I really don't. It is there. It has been confirmed by several people, but it is so minute and minor that I just don't see them doing a complete recall for that. It's not nearly as bad as some of the other quality control issues we've had.
I didn't order the third one, so I don't know. I just got the first.
I didn't even notice it the first time. That's the thing. And I didn't notice it until somebody pointed it out. So I went and checked it, and sure shit, it's there. I even posted it on Twitter if you guys want to check it out. It literally just for us, not even a full second, the sound drops out.
Huh.
It's barely noticeable. Yeah. And I was watching it and I was checking all my stats on my DVD player and my stereo. I'm like, it's not cutting out through the system. So it's clearly something that's inherent on the soundtrack itself. Right. So again, I don't think that they're going to fix it. If they do, cool, thanks, Shout, but I don't think they will. This is one of those things I don't see them going out of their way to fix.
Probably not.
I'm going to have to head out. The kids are getting
thank you for being here, Greg. But yeah, we're going to be heading out ourselves here pretty soon. But thank you for being here, man. I know you got to head out early.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Great news all around. Thank you, guys. And I'll talk to you guys later.
I'll see you on physical media later.
Bye.
All right. And in the meantime, we got one more question here I grabbed, and I think we're going to wrap it up here in a little bit. This is the No Way Home. This is the one I was talking about. Yeah, sorry, Double Fed. I'm sorry to hear that anyway. I had a fairly decent experience in the theater that was decent, I should say. So hopefully if I can get my system hooked up, I can get a better look at it. Other than that, has there been any new movies you've gotten to take a look at since we last talked that you wanted to discuss real quick before we head out?
Well, we just talked about Child's Play. I mean, I was pretty pleased with both of them. Event Horizon, of course, which looked great. It's obvious. Obviously, it's the best it's ever looked. If you want to go the exact opposite direction of Peter Jackson loving DNR scrubbing, Event Horizon's a perfect example of not DNR scrubbing. Leaving the film grain alone, letting the detail shine through. Particularly the scenes where they have the camera inside the gravity core chamber, with all of that fine metalwork detail on the sphere and the walls around it. Oh my God. The Dolby Vision, the HDR for that film is pure gold, and the soundtrack is spectacular. And then I also did get to watch Heat, which looks
I got that too.
Fantastic. The Dolby Atmos soundtrack in that, especially with the downtown Los Angeles gunfight scene.
I thought that was only 5.1.
Well, I mean,
I think Heat only had a DTS 5.1, but it still sounds amazing. Yeah.
I'll put it this way. It sounds far less compressed. It may not be Atmos, but it certainly sounds far less compressed than I remember. Not that the Blu-ray was bad.
But I'm sure I think you're right about Event Horizon though did have Atmos, but yeah, the other
Yeah.
I'm almost positive because that was one of the things people were griping about. Because I'll get into that in a moment. But anyway, you were saying.
No, I was just gonna. I mean, it definitely sounded a lot less compressed with heat, much more dynamic range in that. Because that's one of my favorite. Probably my absolute favorite shoot 'em out gunfight scene in a film that has ever been done, barring big war epics like Saving Private Ryan, which was brilliant. But just in terms of like a crime drama, gunfight, shootout,
It's
scene,
literally cops and robbers. The
yes,
movie.
yes,
But it's done so brilliantly.
It is. There's so much that's brilliant about that. That the training they had to go through those scenes and how they set that up, the camera work that was done to really blur the lines between good guy, bad guy with Vincent and Neil, especially at the end. I thought there was some great camera work there that just I always loved. But anyway, one of my favorite movies. But I definitely recommend it. I mean, I was very happy with the video transfer for both Heat and Event Horizon. Very happy with the soundtrack. Just is it perfect? I wouldn't say it's as perfect. I mean, it's not as fantastic looking as Unforgiven, but that has a very different color palette. For example, or Starship Troopers, very different color palette. But I think for what they are, I would agree with the scores that Blu-ray gave them, which was 4.5 out of 5 on each of them, I believe. For Heat and Event Horizon. Both of them excellent. Really, really excellent.
Well, I can't speak to the quality yet because I haven't got a chance to crack into Event Horizon. I will say this, they pissed me off. At least that it pissed me off in a sense that my Shout Factory version is now obsolete. I haven't even broke it open yet. And I might as well just sell it because thankfully this is the first time I've seen in the history of ever that Paramount carried over, or anybody for that matter, carried over Shout Factory special features to one of their releases. Because I checked and it's all the same special features.
Huh.
So all the new special features that they put on that disc from last year are carried over, or maybe it's 2 years ago now, but still. Anyway, regardless, I haven't seen it yet, but I was kind of happy to see that, so I can probably go sell my Shout Factory, which I still have a slipcover and it's in plastic, so I can probably get a decent amount for it.
Yeah. And I see some people saying it didn't have Atmos on it. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. You might be right. Well, whatever
I thought maybe Shout did an Atmos upgrade for it, but I guess not.
I don't know, but I'm looking at the back of the cases. But I'll put it this way: whatever they did, if they might have done a little bit of tweaking on the sound, even if they didn't put it in an Atmos format, I'm telling you, it sounds.
Well, this is probably the first time you've actually gotten to hear it in a true surround sound soundtrack anyway. Because has this even been on DVD, or if it has, it's been years.
I'm talking about
Event Horizon.
Blu-ray was the last time it came out.
Oh, did they get Event Horizon got a regular Blu-ray?
You got a regular Blu-ray some years ago, but I think I know I have it in the other room.
No, because Heat's coming from the same master they've had for a few years now.
Yeah,
but
okay.
The big thing that everybody's bitching about, and I don't see this, so I don't know. The only other one I have to compare it to, unfortunately, is the one mastered from the same master from a couple of years back. Just before Disney bought Fox, they did a release of it.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Edition or whatever it was on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So I can't compare it. It will look the same no matter what. But people are saying that it's too dark. I don't remember it being much brighter when it was on video and television. I never saw it in theater, so I can't speak to that.
Which one? Heat?
Heat. Yeah, people are griping that it's overly blue and overly dark. I didn't notice too much of a blue hue. I did notice some scenes during the day were a tad darker, but I didn't feel like it affected the night scenes.
I mean, I'll have to agree. I think it is a touch. I mean, a little touch darker than what I've had before in the Blu-ray, and I have not put them side by side. That being said, again, if you have a good OLED set with HDR and Dolby Vision, it compensates for that. I mean, I didn't have any complaints in that regard. I didn't think it was like notably darker to the point where I was all of a sudden, video information was being crushed and I couldn't see it. But
I believe this is Michael Mann's preferred version of it. So
yeah, a little bit grittier.
And to me, I didn't find if there was a problem with it, I didn't see it as big of a problem as say like Out of Sight. Like to me, I can't believe some people are kind of giving me some pushback on that in the community because I'm like, are you not seeing this? Am I the only fucking one? Like, I mean, other people are backing me up, but I mean, as far as people I respect in the review community that are just like completely ignoring it, I'm like, You're insane. It is clear as day. I could tell before I even went and grabbed my old Blu-ray something was wrong. But in this case, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like I was missing anything. I didn't feel like I felt maybe that he got a little happy with the the Dolby Vision maybe by darkening it a little bit with that. But maybe it's because when I watch movies with Dolby Vision and HDR in it, I usually have a setting to where I can pump up the brightness just a little bit, so it has, like, to me, a perfect balance of everything. So
Yeah,
maybe you just got to tweak your system a little bit.
some of it's that too. It's like I just I think part of it is some people just don't have their TV sets dialed in to where they should be. And I say should be based on things like ISF standards, like the way you have a set calibrated to actually, not over crank sharpness, not over crank brightness, not over crank contrast, and having it set right. And Tom and I have talked about this. A lot of these modern TVs, especially the LG OLEDs, they kind of have ISF settings in the set. You just click through it and go, oh, let me go to ISF, and they dial it in for watching film, watching movies, stuff like this.
Yeah, the best
you
bet
can
is to
tweak it.
always flip on filmmaker mode. It used to be called, I think, cinema mode in some older
Cinema
models.
mode, or whatever they're calling it now.
And that's the best base place to start from. And then
Yeah.
a lot of TVs, when something kicks on that's in HDR or Dolby Vision, it'll actually kick it over to a completely different set of settings.
Yep.
So you might want to check that too. Because I noticed that. So I have a set. That's what I said. I have a separate set of settings where I'll run the filmmaker mode straight when I'm watching anything that's not 4K Blu-ray. But then on the 4K Blu-ray side of things, it starts as a base with the filmmaker mode, but then I tweaked the brightness and the stuff like that and the contrast just a little bit. Because to me, it felt like things were just a little too dark.
And sometimes that'll happen, and sometimes it's a matter of, and that's how these guys do these Blu-ray reviews. They know their set is calibrated to that certain ISF standard. So if they look at a disc and they say, well, it looked too dark. It looked too dark because they have a set that's perfectly calibrated. And if the disc is, if there's something wrong with the image, it's going to be the disc. It's going to be the transfer, right? It's going to be whatever remastering process they did. So if it looks too, like it's too much DNR, or the color palette's changed, or it's way too blue or green. Well, that's because that's what was done to the film when they remastered it, not because of the TV set. But I think to this day, people can probably still go out and buy, if anybody's interested in the audience, you can go find simple calibration kits. You buy it as a disc, like as a Blu-ray or as a 4K disc. You pop it in the player. It usually comes with like a red, a green, and a blue set of glasses or some kind of gels you put over your eyes. And then it gives you the SMPTE bars and everything you throw on the screen. And you go into the system's, the TV's, more advanced menu, and you set your color temperature and you set your red, green, and blue to where, it explains how to do it. It's easier than most people think to do.
There's actually even on some Blu-rays and 4K Blu-rays and stuff like that, there's even some like more compressed versions of that. Like they have calibrations on there.
Yeah.
So if worst comes to worst, do that. And you got to remember, different companies, one disc is going to sometimes look different than another disc when it comes to this. So that's why when it comes to 4K, I will generally, I will adjust as needed. But when it comes to standard Blu-ray and DVD, I have my system pretty much set, right? Yeah. But there's such variations sometimes between even HDR and Dolby Vision themselves that you'll get a completely different experience depending on how you're watching it. So, because for those who don't know, HDR only has one straight setting throughout the entire film that they calibrated, as opposed to Dolby Vision, which is each scene or each shot, I mean. But so, and there's sometimes the Dolby Vision will kind of get clunky on me, I've noticed. Mm-hmm. Like it'll literally have it'll interpret a scene two different ways depending on what day it is. I swear to fucking God. Because I've had this where I've rewound a scene a couple times, stop the player and push play again so the TV will recalibrate to Dolby Vision from regular, and the tone will be completely different.
Well,
it'll look much brighter than the last time. Yeah, so you gotta kind of
trying to auto recognize what's going on.
Yeah. So sometimes, like I said, and I posted the one that said, "Did you turn it off and turn it back on?" I in being facetiously, sometimes that actually does fucking fix it.
And then there's the other part of it is like I know a lot of players these days, like both my Uppos, I have full color calibration systems in the Blu-ray
They have
players
them built in.
the 4K machines. Yeah.
And that's
So
one of
I
the
can-
reasons why they're so expensive, because they're actually more what do you call it? Professional end usage.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, if I wasn't on like this LG, if I was on a cheaper set, I could actually go into the Uppo. I could get the cheaper set kind of balanced out. You know, basically put all the settings at 50, brightness, contrast, all this crap, and then go in to the actual Blu-ray player and let that Uppo machine do all the calibration for me to tweak out what it sends to the set. So the set has to do little itself. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Everybody's setup is going to be different. So if you just pull a TV out of the box, plug in a 4K player and hit go, you can have a totally different experience than somebody who has the exact same TV set but has a different Blu-ray player. So that's what I'm saying. You got to know what you have, and
that's the other thing is, out of the
bit.
box, most of the time these TV sets have every fucking thing that's turned on that's going to make your picture look worse.
Max brightness, max backlighting, max contrast,
Vivid, true
motion
vision,
smoothing.
Yeah, well, motion smoothing being the biggest contributor to them all.
God, that is ugly as shit.
You hear me, Yellow Flash?
Yeah.
But with
motion
that,
smoothing is okay, Flash, provided that it's like a live sporting event or you're watching
or
the news.
video games or
video
something.
games
Yeah.
is great for that. But on movies, ooh, especially older like film movies.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like
You want to piss off a filmmaker real quick.
God, yeah. Make him watch his movie in true motion.
Oh God, I've seen so many great directors have great rants on.
Oh, they will prison shank you.
Yeah, it is the worst, and it is. It looks horrible. I don't know how anybody can prefer that. I'm talking to you, Yellow Flash.
Look,
just what I wanted. Godzilla '98 to look like a soap opera.
Yeah, I mean, look, if some people like it, I mean, if Flash likes it, that's cool. I could never sit through it. And it's not the preferred method of watching it. I mean, I think for most folks out there that watch movies, but look, if that looks good to you and that makes you happy, go for it, man. That's cool.
No, I say we shame him like Duck Nation. I'm with Duck Nation. We shame him. No.
I mean, I'm shame it a little bit, but I'm like, hey, man, if that's what really makes you happy, that's look.
Yeah.
But don't ever expect me to agree with you.
No kidding. And don't expect me to sit around and watch a movie at your house either. That's the one thing too, is like, I'll go over to a friend's house to watch TV and shit, but if they ain't going to listen to me about turning off the motion smoothness shit, then yeah. You know what's funny about that is the 2 or 3 people that I have done that to, they've turned, a couple of them have turned the shit back on. I swear to God. Come back. What the fuck are you doing?
Squirmed. Like it's jarring when I see it, and I'm sitting there. I did an experiment one time where I tried to watch it with that on.
Oh, it's horrible.
I don't remember what it was, but it was a 4K. Might have been something like Unforgiven or something. I brought that up earlier. And I'm like, let me just try to experience this. I couldn't make it like even 3 minutes. I couldn't take it. Whoa. Oh, good for you with having 2
Yeah,
of
that's a
those,
good
because,
idea.
Man, you got some backup parts. Make sure it's in a nice air-conditioned little spot there.
Yeah.
Or sell it on eBay because they're going for $1,000 right now.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, that's one thing that drives me. I used to, when I actually had time in my life, you know, when I didn't have to rush through everything, like I actually used to go through all the TVs at Walmart and turn that shit off when they had the remote sitting there. It'd drive me nuts. I'm just like, you expect anybody to buy a TV that looks like this shit? Like, come on.
Well, usually when they have the demo reels on, it's like, because now if I walk into Sam's, like all the TVs that are on, they usually have some kind of demo thing playing. It's like a master feed from Sam's or whatever. So it's usually videoed stuff anyway. It's not like it's a filmed movie or something. So you can barely tell that crap is on because it's just like,
yeah, you're right. But like at a lot of them, what they'll have is like their cheapest ones they'll have lined up right as you come in the door.
Yeah.
And they'll have like Minions playing. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And every time you can tell right away that the shit's on.
Oh yeah, well that was always the old trick. I remember when high definition sets came out, in order to sell them, what a lot of like the big box stores would do, they would make it easy. Oh yeah, look how great this $500 or $1,000 at the time high def set, which at that time was cheap because they had just come out. I mean, if you could find an HD set for $1,000, $1,500, and what they would do is they'd slap on Toy Story or something like that. Something that was
Some
not
animated
real.
film usually,
Yes.
yeah.
Always something animated, so it would look sharp as a tack, and it would just look perfect. But then I would always tell folks, actually have them put on like a real movie and then do the test.
Oh, you know what would piss off the people at Best Buy is I would always bring movies with me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Test discs. I had different variations. I was like, if I'm going to spend this much on a player, I want to make sure it plays everything that I want the way I want it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd get the good salesman who'd let me just go to town. And then other times you get the one.
Well, we actually encouraged customers to bring in, like when it came to, when I was selling high-end audio video stuff, bring your CDs, bring your records, bring
back in the day, I would always bring like an MP3 burn disc, for instance, and a burnt disc just to test all the different kinds of things to make sure that, well, especially like back when DVD and stuff like those players. But like when we hit Blu-ray, same kind of thing, just to make sure it played certain files and other things I wanted it to do. Yeah. So yeah, and certain calibers and qualities and sound quality. Because you also ran into an issue there where there was a small period where certain players would have Dolby Digital on it, but they didn't have the Dolby True HD. Mm-hmm. So you had to deal with that shit too. And it was like they were downsampling the True HD, or it would just play it as a 2-channel PCM mix.
Something like that. Yeah,
so you ran into all that kind of shit. And you had the same problem when Dolby Atmos first came out here, too, a couple of years back. There's a lot of players that still don't play Dolby Atmos, for instance. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it, I think. I think we've covered everything. I don't think we missed any of the news or anything. It's been a heavy-duty day. Sadly, I didn't get some of the newer flicks this week to kind of talk about. I did get Carter. But I didn't get a chance to check it out yet. That was released by BFI.
I saw that. I didn't.
The original, that is.
Yeah, the Michael Caine or something.
Yeah, if anybody even remembers the Sylvester Stallone version from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I watched it for like a couple seconds. It looks great. So Warner being Warner, they usually do take care of a lot of their classic films. So it came from their vault. So needless to say, it seems like it's a good quality scan for anybody who's interested in that film. That one I can say I did not get 4K of Red Dawn yet. That's supposed to be here tomorrow. Same thing with, the other bit of news that we didn't totally skipped over. Out of nowhere, Universal decided, you know what, we're going to drop a Dominion on fucking Blu-ray this last week here. Didn't tell anybody.
Well, you mentioned Jurassic World earlier. I thought that's the one you were talking about.
Oh, did I? I think it was before the show, though.
Maybe it was.
Did I mention it during the show? Well, either way,
because you were like waiting on Jurassic. You were still waiting.
Yeah, maybe I mentioned it in passing, but the thing was, is it did get released digitally. I think last week or the week before. I think it was just last week.
Yesterday, the 16th.
Yeah, so we weren't expecting the DVD or Blu-ray or the 4K for another month. And then I had heard some shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Somebody was trying to tell me that it wasn't coming out till December, so that's what I've been telling people. So I'm like, all right. I thought maybe that just, because here's the thing is they got that extended edition on the Blu-ray and 4K. Mm-hmm. So I thought, so that's what they're doing. They're going to release the digital version now and the theatrical cut. And then Christmas time, they'll release the extended cut. No, they just all of a sudden dropped it Tuesday. And I think a lot of outlets and stuff were completely taken. I know Amazon was taken completely by surprise by it.
Well, everybody was, because nobody had it. Nobody had it on their map, like Blu-ray. Nobody.
It was just completely out of nowhere. Tuesday they dropped the Blu-ray at the same time, and it was like, whoa, it's out.
And I'm gonna see. In fact, I'm gonna look. I don't know if is it on Peacock yet or not.
I don't know. See, and that's another reason why I was curious if they weren't gonna drop the Blu-ray at the same time it went on Peacock too. That was the other thing. Because I was sitting there looking at the time. I'm like, wait, if the digital version's available now, and if they're not gonna have the other one till December, that's 90 days. That's weird.
Here's the thing.
Roughly 90 days, yeah.
I wonder, I'm pulling up Peacock right now. I wonder, see, part of that deal is that's that Universal deal. The live action stuff goes to Amazon Prime, and then the animated stuff goes to Netflix. So like Netflix gets Minions, Prime gets Jurassic World. I thought we talked about it there earlier. Maybe we did.
You did mention it. I think it was another show we actually talked about this aspect of it too. Because I remember saying something like, I thought that was kind of weird that Netflix didn't at least try to get the Jurassic movies because they had the animated series. But, you just said it's cut down the middle. It's animated, goes to Netflix. The other ones go to Amazon.
See, the Bad Guys is over there now. I see the Black Phone just got added, so I can finally watch that. I do not see Jurassic World on Peacock yet because it would be right up in the front right now if it was. So, and the reason I say that is because they've got that pay one window deal with Universal. It's split. So for the first 4 months post theatrically, when it goes to streaming, whenever it goes there, I think actually streaming is 120 days for Universal. So that's why we're not seeing it on Peacock yet. But it'll go to Peacock for months 1 through 4. And then it'll go over to Prime for months 5 through 14, and then 15, 16, 17, 18, because pay one windows are 18 months. Pay two windows are 18 months. Those last 4 months, it then goes back to Peacock. So that's why it's probably going to be 30 more days before it hits Peacock at this point. Because if we're at day 90 right now for Jurassic World,
or maybe 60, but yeah, it could be 30, right?
I think, it's in the contract that they signed.
It's probably why they dumped the Blu-ray already. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's in the contract that Universal signed with Prime and Netflix.
I know they kind of surprised people with Minions coming out so quickly too. So
well, but I think Minions didn't. I mean, if it's out, it's on PVOD.
Yeah, but I think the Blu-ray is coming. Let me see here.
Blu-ray. I don't. Do we have a release date for that?
I think we do now.
See, like right now, if you go in here for you, like the first thing I see is Despicable Me, Despicable Me 2. But Minions ain't there yet.
Blu-ray comes out December 31st. This is the same thing they had with Jurassic World. Well, it was saying December 31st for the longest time. So I won't be surprised if Minions doesn't get dumped on video real soon.
They might change it up.
I think so, because it's the same exact thing they did and I think they're doing it on purpose so people don't think it's coming out on video yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the just added, and it's nowhere in there.
They have it listed for December 31st. That's the same thing they had for Jurassic World for the longest time.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
Black Phone later then.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, I already canceled my fucking Peacock last one.
It just hit this week.
Oh no, of course I canceled because I hadn't watched anything since Halloween, dude. Like I've had it for almost a year and been paying for it. I'm like, fuck, I'm canceling it.
Well, it's got some of the old NBC shows, which is kind of cool. So I'm like, I'm paying $4.99 a month for it. So I'm like, all right, I'll keep it. I'm gonna keep checking it out.
Yeah, maybe I'll get it. Anyway, Corleone Rogue. No, I have not heard about a 3D version of Dominion yet, which is kind of surprising because they did do one for Fallen Kingdom. They came out day and date with the other ones. Though with the way this one's getting rushed out the way it is, maybe they'll put one out a little later, or we might have to import it, or we just might not get one at all. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the latter. I hate to say it, but 3D is I was surprised we got Spider-Man in 3D, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And they region locked that son of a bitch. And the other two I have are not region locked. That's what pisses me off. So I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? The one I'll actually watch more than the others. I gotta, And I tried getting around it too by ripping it, and that didn't work. It wouldn't rip the 3D version for some reason. So anyway, with that, is there a 3D version of King Kong versus Godzilla? If that's what you're asking, yes. Yes, there is. That one they did. Warner Brothers is pretty good if there's a 3D version, though. They even did Dune. So, Warner Brothers is the last one left. The Wonder Woman 84 got a 3D release. Like, if there's a 3D version of it, Warner Brothers seems to be the only ones left who are actually still doing US releases. So they seem kind of limited, but they still do them. So,
Morgan King, I know we're closing out, but Midnight's Edge, what was the name of the Dune miniseries on Sci-Fi?
It's just called Dune.
Just Dune.
But I'll put the link here. Hang on.
Well, what you want to look for, it's Dune. It came out in the year 2000. So a lot of times when you Google it, you put Dune 2000 Sci-Fi.
Ah, crap. It didn't do the actual links there, but...
and I'll put it this way.
Frank Herbert's Dune, I think, is another thing to maybe look under.
Yeah.
Umbrella release from 2020 is the one you probably want, though. But hang on that thought, because I'm going to double check for Valliant to see if it's not region free. So I'll bring you guys up to speed on that the next show we have.
Yeah, I already ordered it because they only had a few left. So I'm like, screw it. So let me get it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's $16. I'll send it back.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
But with that, let's check on out. What do you say? Thank you for being here, Valliant. Check out Greg's channel. I'll be on there later on tonight. Anything you got coming up you want to plug real quick?
I've got a few videos I got to get on. I've just been so busy. It's back to school week, so I've been so out of it these last couple of 2 or 3 weeks. I've got college stuff now to work on for my oldest because she's going into her senior year in high school. So it's like scholarships, college applications, college visits getting ready to start. So probably it's going to be a rough next probably couple of weeks, months, but just with random crap like that. But I'm still going to be here. So we're going to do probably going to do some box office wrap up videos coming up this weekend. We're going to look back at Thor, talk about that. I'm a little surprised if you noticed, people. Disney has not made an announcement, and day 45, day 46 for Thor: Love and Thunder is Monday. We're less than a week away. We have no announcement.
I've been hearing that it's coming out Monday. They did the same thing with Doctor Strange. They didn't really announce it. It just came out.
No. They announced like 3 weeks. 3 weeks before Doctor Strange.
They might hold off on it, but I heard it was coming out the 23rd, which I thought was funny. Because it's the same day that Top Gun's hitting VOD as well.
I think it is too, but I think the difference is this time, like Disney learned, or they're trying.
Oh, from not saying anything?
Yeah, keep your mouth shut and see how much more you can. Because the minute, it already flatlines enough of it is after the first 7 days. But as soon as they announce, streaming on Disney Plus in 2 weeks, it kills anything. It probably shaved several millions, maybe another 10, 20 million off the table from the performance of Strange. Not that sounds like much, but when with Thor: Love and Thunder, an extra 20, 25 million at the box office at this point could be the difference between breaking even and losing money. So that's why I think they've kept their mouth shut.
You could be right. That or maybe that was the initial plan because it's been a little while since I heard that. And if that was the initial plan, maybe they noticed what I did and they saw that Top Gun was coming out the same day and they said, shit.
I think part of it also...
Maybe they moved it back a little bit. Who knows?
Maybe. But I think part of it is also the fact that...
Because they're not committed to anything on that. So, yeah.
They're not. But I think AMC and some of the other theaters, if I was like Adam Aaron, the CEO of AMC, I'd be getting on Disney. Hey, you promised us 45 days. This is how this contract works. If you come out and announce this thing's going to Disney Plus halfway through the run, it affects the performance. Shut up, or we're not going to give you
that
much money
might
next
be
time.
True, and I think that might have also what happened with Universal because Universal was the ones who started this whole thing, and we've been predicting that the theater organization NATO or whatever the hell you call it,
NATO,
National Authority, whatever.
North American Theater Owners, National Association of Theater Owners.
That NATO, not the other one. They have been saying that. Well, they have more power now, so I wouldn't be surprised if they don't start saying something here soon. Because they only allowed a lot of the shit they did for the past year and a half, 2 years, because of COVID.
Oh, absolutely.
But was it Nathan Fithian or whatever his name was? He flat out kind of said that, this is not going to last forever, and they're not gonna back down anymore like they used to. I think they're sick of bending over and taking it dry.
They've struck a deal. Adam Aaron, the CEO of AMC, said during the earnings call a week ago, whatever it was, that they've basically they've come to an understanding with the studios of having some flexibility, of allowing for, hey, we prefer to have this movie with the traditional window of 90 to 120 days, but we understand some movies want to exit and they, after 45 days. Or we reassess at that point and all this, we've become flexible. But what that tells me is that they now there's no question that there are performance triggers in these contracts, no doubt, to where, hey, if you pull out after so many days and go to your streaming service, we're cutting what we're paying you in rentals for this film. So basically it's almost to this point to where it's up to the studios to decide, the performance of the film and how long of a box office window it truly has before they dump it onto a streaming service or PVOD or something. But I'm telling you, AMC, Cinemark, all these guys, they are tiering these contracts based on what the studio does. And they have contingencies in these contracts for every possible contingency, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, 4K Cinema HD says, did you guys pick up the copy of Heat 2, the novel? I did not. Did you, Valiant?
I did not, no.
I know a couple of people who did. They said it's amazing so far. What's funny is I saw an interview with Michael Mann talking about it, and I kind of remember now that I think before Disney bought Fox, he was going to go ahead and make at least the prequel anyway. Mm-hmm. So I remember going, oh, no, that's a bad idea. Remember what happened to Carlito's Way? Don't do it. No. But yeah, he said again in this recent interview that his whole point was with releasing this novel, and he's got a couple more coming out with it, is to set up that he plans on filming these at some point. I still think that's a mistake. I do. I really, really do. I don't think they're going to be able to capture without that cast.
No, I don't know.
You could kind of get away with doing the younger versions, but then again, you chance it becoming, Carlito's Way prequel. You know what I mean? Nobody from the actual film is in it.
Yeah, which I don't even remember what that movie was called.
I can't. It was Carlito's Way, something or other, because it's a prequel. It's about young Carlito.
Yeah,
so it's all recast.
Don't even
straight to video. It looks like shit. And I mean, I'm not saying Michael Mann's going to make a shitty movie. I mean, the movie might be fine, but how do you cast younger versions of all those characters? And then on the other end of it, if you have to do a sequel, how the fuck are you going to get Val Kilmer to do that now?
Yeah,
it's just I don't.
Well, you can't get Val Kilmer to do that now. I mean,
that's the problem. So you have to recast the fucking role now.
Yeah. So.
And I don't like that idea.
No, too risky. But
to me, I think it should have been. I like his idea of having like a little also Rand, set of novels coming out. They could even do the audiobook versions at least. Have De Niro and all those guys come and do their voices.
Yeah.
That you can get away with.
Duck Nation, I see your comments about like Warner Brothers Discovery removing content.
Yeah, sorry.
Remember that even though it's on HBO Max for a time, you're talking about pay one windows for like 18 months. HBO Warner, I don't remember, but they probably still have deals for a lot of their content for the pay two windows, meaning that it might be on HBO Max for 18 months, but then they've licensed it out for money to somebody else.
Like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean
they're trying to make some money on all this shit they spent money on.
After 18 months sitting on HBO Max, anybody that was going to watch it, 99% of the people have already watched it.
And we kind of predicted this. I don't remember if it was with you or if it was me in Culture. We kind of predicted, I think it was you, where we said after a while, we're going to start seeing this shit where like,
Oh, that's what I said. Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Yep. That's what we were talking about. Yep.
Netflix will be out. They will be shopping their stuff.
It'll be out in syndication. It'll probably pop up on
Stranger Things
HBO Max or something.
2, Cobra Kai season 1, 2, 3, something like that. They'll always be 2 or 3 seasons removed from the latest season, but they will start farming these things out because look, there's potentially billions of dollars in revenues that Netflix just has sitting there right now, collecting dust, doing nothing. They just got to license them
and
out.
I think a lot of these movies and stuff that they're pulling from HBO Max will finally get home video releases as well for those that haven't.
Yeah. So,
and that's another reason why I at no point did I feel like Warner Brothers was saying that we're getting away from physical media, or that they haven't indicated that at all. And if anybody has embraced it wholeheartedly, it's been Warner Brothers. They're one of the few companies that they're so close to the chest with their shit. Like Shout has been drooling for years to try to get their hands on some Warner titles and some of these other boutique companies, and Warner won't let them.
Yeah.
They've tested some waters in the last few years, but we haven't seen a lot of big new announcements. So that tells me that the waters didn't turn out the way Warner was hoping for. That's why I said, don't get your hopes up for a Nightmare on Elm Street box set anytime soon from Shout Factory, even though everybody keeps rumoring it. It's like there may even be 4K masters for all we know. That does not mean that they're going to give them to Shout, because that's one of New Line's bread and butters. And don't believe you me, Warner knows that, and they're going to sit on that until they know that they're going to do something with it. And then once they do like a Lega sequel or a reboot here in a couple of years, they'll end up putting them all out in their own box set is what they'll do.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll it's one of those things. I don't think Warner at any time in the near future is going to quit making Blu-rays or DVDs and 4K.
As long as they can keep doing it and making money from it, that's what's going to happen.
In fact, the fact that they're still committed to doing 3D Blu-ray tells me they're a long way off from considering this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Especially the older titles that they're still converting, which they're
you have the Warner Archive and shit like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're going to spend the time and the money to take their massive libraries of film content and then scan them in 4K to round out their streaming services, then it makes no sense not to take that investment and put it on physical media to make a bunch of extra money.
Yeah, and then as I was saying, like the Warner Archive alone,
Yeah.
I mean, I wish they would bring the price down a little bit on some of those titles, but it's nice that they're going out of their way to make sure that there's decent HD versions of these movies out there. Even if the original version was being scanned for HBO Max, it doesn't matter. They've still made sure that these have been put out on Blu-ray. Even if you can't get them readily available everywhere, Amazon, you can get the Warner Archive titles through very easily. So, and there's some great titles. That's one of the few collections I haven't really gotten some of the titles I really should have yet, because I've been kind of waiting for sales and shit. And I just missed one, actually, sadly, but yeah.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
Indeed.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jed. I was kind of upset when they crammed those all on the same discs, but they actually looked pretty fucking good, considering. And I just watched the first one again here not too long ago, and it still holds up for being a damn near, oh God, that came out in 2000, I think, was it 3 or 6 on Blu-ray? Well, it had to be at least
remember.
6. Had to be at least 6 or 7 because, yeah. But I think that was one that already had a 4K master then, because that's when they kind of started doing some of these 4K masters, was at the beginning of that era. So maybe. But I just hope they finally get released in 4K. That'd be nice. And some actual special features. That'd be nice. But from what I've heard, New Line's archive was not as well kept. There's even questions as to which negatives are still available. I remember hearing some hullabaloo not too long ago about TMNT, but from what Razorfist said, it sounds like they may have found the negative. So, yeah. Pilgrim Media says, will ESGs always be a factor going forward?
Maybe. I guess it depends on what. I mean, they'll be out there. There'll always be, these little stupid ratings and mutual funds to make folks happy. Hey, look, we're going to invest in companies that have high ESG scores. What does that mean? We don't know, but it's Apple and Amazon. So it's, okay, everybody owns Apple and Amazon. It just,
I mean, as far as this conversation, nothing to really do with.
No,
but,
not really. That's why I didn't know if there was something particular.
Yeah, no, I think Pilgrim's just throwing a regular question at us. It's okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, we touch on this stuff a little bit more on the other stuff, but I hope to God not. I hope we're getting away from some of this stuff, at least here in the U.S. But we'll have to wait and see. But with that, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. I want to thank you again, Valliant, for all your time. Check out Greg's channel as well as Valliant Renegades. Did you plug whatever it was you're going to plug earlier? Go ahead and plug it again, just the same.
Yeah, no, just check out the channel. Like I said, I got a few videos I need to work on. Try to do one tonight if I can. It's just been so busy, but just stay tuned to the channel. Turn the notification bells on so you get them. I know that's a problem lately. And hopefully this weekend I'll go back to. I missed the live stream Sunday. I just did not have time. But should have one again this weekend. So,
all right. And with that, otherwise, I'd say tune in tonight to Physical Media with Greg and myself and whoever else pops in there on Greg's channel on FanZcene. Of course, the link is in the description and pinned at the top. And thank you guys for being here today to make this show a continued success. If we don't see you next time, next week, we'll see you in a couple weeks from here on out. Seems like every other week we generally seem to be able to do these and actually have something to talk about, but we'll see if there's any big announcements between now and then, and we'll play it by ear. So thank you guys and take care.